What is it, June 19th, 2023. Got my man Matt Ellis below me here, and we are here with Kevin Palko, the man. Actually caught him not training for once to talk about his upcoming match here with Jake Houston. And I tell you what, man, I kind of feel like Jake was hunting you a little bit. Like, how did this match actually transpire?
Yeah, so he messaged me on Facebook Messenger and basically just asked for the match, and things worked out, and I accepted it, and we kind of just went over the details, and I mean it was pretty painless.
So it's a 165. Do you like that because you don't have to cut, or do you prefer to make the cut?
No, I'm good with 165. I walk around between 165 and maybe up to like 168. So if I can avoid the cut, I'm fine with it. And I've already cut like 5 times this year, so yeah, I'm definitely good with walking at 165 and just showing up to the match.
How heavy were you for that Arm Wars match?
The biggest I got was 174. Due to travel, the plane ride, getting into England, I probably was about 170 to 172 for the actual match.
How'd you feel walking around that heavy?
I didn't like it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt bloated, and yeah, 165 is where I feel the best.
How often have you pulled at 165? Because it seems like you're normally pulling 154 wherever
Mhm.
you're at.
I barely ever pull at 165.
So does that change anything? Does it actually help you, or is there something in the game, in the mental game of cutting, that gets you
Yeah,
in the mode? You know.
so the thing with cutting is like I kind of taper off my training like 2 weeks before a tournament or a match, and I walk a lot. So like I don't really do any kind of cardio, but I do walk. So I'll go on hikes, for 2 hours sometimes, and that, you can kind of get in your head, just go over the match, think about a lot of things, and that is like the one good thing about cutting. But being able to just eat and do everything as you normal do going into a match, I mean, I think that's gonna be a benefit actually, because like I'm cutting weight right now actually for a match July 1st, and just the energy depletion and not feeling normal is not always the best thing.
When is this match coming up?
154,
You said July 2nd,
July 1st.
1st, and then from then on out you'll be coming back. But so if you cut to 154, what are you actually pulling at? Are you getting all the way back up to 162? Or are you?
Probably 60 to 62. Because I don't do a water cut. I diet down, like I said, a couple weeks in advance and do a little bit of walking before it deficit, try to burn some calories. I'm not doing like the water load and drinking 5 gallons of water. Trying to sauna it all off. So
Have you ever
I'm not going from 154 back up to 170. I'll probably gain at least 5 pounds after the weigh-in, though.
have you attempted a water cut before? And
I've never done one.
yeah, I've tried it a couple times. I'm not very successful with it.
Right.
It's tougher.
And it's kind of just like, I don't know why I'm so worried about doing it, because I know like if I start it around 163, 165, after you load the water, you're going to go up to like 170 something.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be like, holy crap, how am I going to make 154 from here? But I guess once you start pissing it all out and doing the sauna and sweating, I guess it goes fairly easily. But
Yeah.
I don't know, just not my thing.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just fat because it's real easy for me to water cut. I guess if it was like 6 or 8 pounds even, I don't have to load a whole ton. I just got to drink a little more than I would normally drink and keep my heart rate up for that month. make sure I'm sweating in a cycle, and I'll drop that off no problem. So I don't know if it's just because I should be a lot lighter than I am. But to me, that would just be the easiest way without having to diet. Like I could diet it down. For me to hit 72, I would have to diet, but I feel like for someone like you, the water cut would be easier. You know,
It could be.
unless
Just
you're
gonna
walking. Are you walking around at like 5% body fat normally?
probably somewhere between 10 and 14, I would think.
Yeah, so it should. I would think it would come off. But I mean, Brent. I train with Brent Rockers, and he kind of says the same thing. He never water cuts, and we
Mhm.
won't even cut that couple pounds. It's all a diet always. So maybe that's a performance thing, Matt. When you cut, you're cutting a lot of weight. So
Yeah.
at that point, you're just dieting down all the way, right?
Yeah. So the one time that I cut the most is probably when WAL was going on. I made 165. So I came down from like 185, 190, and I did the water cut. But that next day, like I was nowhere near 100%, maybe 70, 60 to 70%. I just didn't have any endurance. And I knew right then, I was like, I'll never make a cut that big again just because, it affected my overall performance. It wasn't worth going down that low in a weight class. So after that, I was like, it's either 176 or 190-ish for me. So
Are you going to be a 172 guy soon, Kevin? Yep, I think we got you muted.
Maybe in a couple years. I think my plan next year is just to book less matches. I kind of went overboard this year and had a tournament and then a super match and then a tournament and then a super match. And then I ended up having arm wars and the round robin. So it was just way too much this year. I think if I book less matches next year, I can do a couple more at 54, probably do a few at 76. I know I'll probably have a couple Arm Wars matches again. So those, for some reason, they like me pulling heavier people. So I'm just guessing I'll probably be heavier for those matches. And then, I mean, big events like nationals, I'll definitely cut down to 54. But yeah, probably I'd say a couple more years, it might be bumping me out of the 54 class.
So
you
did you
mentioned,
take? Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna. I know that here in the past 3 or 4 months, you pulled a lot, like in a short period of time. I don't know how you did it and how your arms aren't falling off, but has that affected your training at all and how you're recovering? I mean, have you had to change basically your regimen?
Yeah. So, I mean, going straight from Arm Wars to the round robin, I mean, obviously everybody's seen the lack of performance that I had there. Um, but it it took a good month before I even started feeling, you know, good to be on the table again. As far as training, it did slack big time. I mean, I didn't want to really get into any kind of training cycle because I knew it wasn't going to be at 100%. Honestly, I've just been doing a lot of yard work around the house, trying to work with my hands and turn work into the workout. But as far as a training cycle or anything specific for Jake, it's been nothing.
So are you confident going in there that you could take care of it still without issue, or is there something you're worried about?
No, I'm not worried about anything. I'm finally starting to get back to 100% now, I think. And I just pulled the Ukrainian guy. I don't know if you guys seen that video, and I felt really good. Didn't have any aches, pains, so right there, I'm happy. Um, I do have this match July 1st, but I think 22 days will be enough time to recover. So pretty confident going in. I think as long as I feel good and I'm healthy, that's all I can ask for.
Have you pulled Jake ever before? Have you guys crossed
Ever.
paths anywhere?
Nope. We met at Michigan State. We didn't pull left, right, nothing, but we were in the same building. That was pretty much it.
Different classes, I assume.
It was the same class, but that was right as Jake started getting sick, and I guess he just started his dialysis, and obviously you're not at your best performance going through that kind of stuff. So I think he ended up getting booted out of the tournament before we crossed paths. So um, yeah, I mean, obviously I know how good Jake is and what his past history is, and already what he's doing now that he's come back. So I mean, it's going to be a tough match. I'm looking forward to it.
If you were the one making the Vegas odds on this match, what are your odds going in?
I think you got to put me in as the favorite. I don't know. I think it's close enough to be 50-40. You know,
Yeah. I think the one question I have is I know you guys haven't pulled yet. Does that change your outlook and how you're trying to train for a match like this, considering you've never gripped up with them? Are you going to try to, watch video and try to change anything about your approach, or are you just going to follow your normal regiment?
yeah. So I've watched a little bit of Jake. Just when the matchup first was announced, I kind of scrolled on YouTube and just wanted to see what he was about. I think I got enough info just from that little bit that I watched. Um, I have a game plan, and I hope I can stick to it because I know a lot of times people have that game plan, and then for some reason they go back to just what their natural instincts are. I think if I go back to that, my natural instincts, I think that's going to hinder me because it'll be the wrong thing. So hopefully the stuff that I have been working on, hopefully I can do that and hopefully it'll work. But yeah, it has changed, knowing Jake's style and what you know, I don't think it's what he's going to do that would beat me, but it's what I would do that would beat me. I would put myself in a bad position and, that would ultimately win him the match. So hopefully I can just stay away from that and stick to the game plan.
We have a few international master referees at the event. If you have your choice of who was controlling your match, who would you pick?
Is Pat Bear going to be there?
He is.
I like him. I like. I can't think of his name. He's a shorter, bald guy. Um, Probably in his 60s. God, why can't I think of his name? Either way, I like Pat Bear. So if he's one of the refs, I'll be happy with that.
Be happy. We got Leonard there, Keith Michelle,
Leonard.
Sean Hancock, Pat Barry, Rance Clayton.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, all of them are good. They've all refed my matches at previous events. I mean, Leonard's head ref for me multiple times. Sean Hancock will call every elbow foul. So, hey, that might be good for me. If I can just sink my elbow down and Jake elbow fouls 2 times, hey, I'll take it. So,
All right, so I'm gonna, if you don't mind, run through this card. Get your thoughts on the different matches that are also on this card with you, which is actually only a month away now.
yeah, it's coming up.
First up would be Lincoln Munger versus Tim Lewis. Are you familiar with Lincoln?
Not too much, but I'm definitely familiar with Tim. And it's the same old story with Tim. If he can stop the hit, start working his way back, he's probably going to win the match. I'm not sure if Lincoln is a fast puller or a hand-based puller, but if he can flash Tim, then that's the way he's going to win.
Do you think that's like a 3-0 sweep, or does he figure out a way to get a win in there?
I just don't know enough about Lincoln. Who are some of his big matches that he's had?
I don't know if he's had too many big matches. He's kind of an up-and-comer. I know he trains with Austin Jaggers and, has a good team behind him as far as his matches. I know he had a match recently that I think he won, but As far as high caliber matches, I'm not sure.
Right.
He's coming in at 205 for this, so says he's going to hook him. I guess we'll
Okay.
find out.
Well, my gut instinct, I'm going to have to go with the veteran, the guy that's been around, the guy that, I've seen win high level matches. So I'll go with Tim. I'll say it's 3-0. Yeah, especially if Lincoln's up and coming and, this might be one of his biggest matches to date. So I'll go with Tim and his experience.
What about Oscar Anderson versus Joel Cagle? Lefty
No
match.
offense to Joel, but I think Oscar is gonna win pretty handily.
Have you pulled with both of those guys?
Yeah, I think I pulled Oscar at the last strongest badge I went to, and he destroyed me. So, and then
So-
obviously at the round robin, I just beat Joel, which was right hand, but still, I think Oscar is just a level above right now.
Awesome. Caleb Velasco versus Sam Taylor.
Mm-hmm. I have, pretty big matches with both of them. So I'm going to go with Sam Taylor because he got a big win on me at Nationals. He freaking caught me off guard and drove me into a hook and shoulder pressed me and went right through my bicep. So if he can do that to Caleb, he'll definitely win that match. But Caleb, he's got a chance, especially I don't think Sam's go-to move is his press or his shoulder roll. So if they both go hand, it'll probably go to the straps, and then it'll come down to who's stronger in the straps.
Sam's been looking pretty good there for sure.
Yeah.
But one thing to note is that Caleb has pulled him before and was on the receiving end of an ass whooping, and he's the one
Right.
that was looking for this match.
Right.
So there's always that, when the underdog's looking for the match. Kind of was the same thing with Lincoln. So
Right. So it's going to be how much has Caleb leveled up? How much has he gotten better? Because, we all know how good Sam is, and if he can beat me left-handed like he did, then I'll put him as the favorite against anyone.
he's definitely the favorite going in, that's for sure.
Right.
One of the actually kind of an interesting match, I think. We have Cody Vanderwood and Cole Casper, with Cole moving up to this match is actually 176. Cole, I'm sure, will be 172 for the tournament, though.
Right.
What do you think of that one?
Oh, man. I have a lot more experience with Cole, and I know how strong he is. I think that guy has the ability to win basically any match at 176. I mean, he's got to be somewhere at least around top 10 for 176. So,
Yeah, he's actually number 11 right now at 72.
okay. All right. So, I would think he's the favorite for the match. I think that's just me not knowing enough about Cody, though.
Cody's teetered in there. He's been top 15 in the past. He had a big win over Corey Johnston at one point, and
that's big.
he's always dangerous. Real strong hook puller.
Yeah,
also has some tricks.
I've pulled Corey Johnston, and I know how strong that guy is. So if he's anywhere close to Corey, that's going to be a very good match.
I agree. I think
That
that's
could be
one of the ones.
so far. That could be match of the card if
I
if
told
they're
Bill, I was
close.
like, I think that's the one that's going to be in the center of the table, grinding out
Yep.
every match. I'm
Yeah,
interested
for
to
sure.
see how it comes out. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm excited for that now.
Yeah, Cole just had that match with Tim Lewis that went all 5 rounds, I think, and that was close. So
Yeah, if you can beat Tim lefty, especially I don't know what Cole is weighing, but he's anywhere in the 170s, and he beat Tim. Jeez, man.
Yeah.
That left is nasty.
That's what I thought too.
Oh, yeah. That left is nasty.
You know where Tim's going, and to be able to stay inside with him and grind out those matches and prevail, in a super match style with Tim, that's, giving weight up. That's incredible. So
Right.
impressive.
Yeah, I've practiced with Tim many times where he just lets me hit into that left and kind of lets me stay in that winning position, and then slowly he just starts to hydraulic press you back up, and then next thing you know, you're being pinned. So for Cole to win that match, super impressive.
Billy Krupp, Scott Wynn. And this one's at 190.
Yeah, I know Billy's track record. I know how good he is. Scott, not too much. Any insight on?
Scott has a really strong hand. He's been pulling for decades. You know, he's been pulling with the best guys. He's at the top. I think he's teetered. He might not be in the rankings now, but he's been in the top 15 and right around that range. Has some big wins. You know, he's like maybe 50-50 with like Bob Brown, I think, and you know, like he's in there. He's just West Coast, doesn't travel a whole ton.
Yep.
But he's been involved in a lot of those big events. He's got a real strong hand. Doesn't want to let go. You know, both of those guys are kind of like that. So definitely a grinder. He'd stay in it.
Right. I say 3-2. It could go either way. 50-50, it sounds like.
Kevin's flipping a coin. He doesn't know on that one.
Yeah, I will definitely flip a coin on that one.
Do you know Mirzad Kablik?
I don't.
He's one of our guys from down here. He also had a match with Tim Lewis back in Illinois State a couple years ago. And what was his last bigger match? He's been going heavier lately. But he has a match with Bo Olson. I'm sure you've heard of him out of Kansas.
Yeah, I have.
I guess if you don't know Mirzad, it's too hard to get any insight on that one.
Right. Yeah, just not enough insight for me and just not familiar enough to really make a decision on that one.
You do know Dalton Duncan and Austin Tevis, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What do you think of this match, and how do you think this match compares to the original?
From everybody I talk to, they say Dalton is the best. I mean, they think he can be number one in the United States. So whether he can get on the table and prove that, that's another story. So, but just the people I talk to, they're like, man, yeah, Dalton. I mean, they were saying Dalton would destroy Dustin Hyatt right now. From what people tell me. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but I mean, if that's the case, but then, I mean, look how good Austin was.
Yeah. I mean, he did beat Dustin at the last strongest match.
Right.
So
Well, yeah. And I
it
mean,
was
after
2
a
years
super
ago,
match,
but it's
too.
2 years for both of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, how much has both improved in 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, Dustin's been everywhere. He's been pulling all over the place and constantly out there, where Dalton kind of disappeared, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the guys aren't training. He's got a big team down there, too. I don't know if he was or not, but it definitely doesn't mean he was just sitting on the couch, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, he's putting $1,000 on the match, too, so he's
he's got to be
confident,
right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if he's been polling. Like, I haven't seen any tournament footage or super match footage of him in probably a couple years, honestly.
Have
and
you
then
gripped
Austin,
up with either of those guys?
never, neither one of them.
And you were in St. Louis with Dalton, and you didn't get it. You didn't run into him, I guess. You did pull 72, but just didn't meet up with him, huh?
No. Yeah, I didn't do too good in the 72s and probably got booted out before me and him could meet. So.
Well, you had quite the grinder with that match with Grant Pitcher for sure. That was that lefty?
We did well. The super match was
both?
lefty, but we also we pulled in the tournament. I think 2 or 3 times, and we were total that day. We were probably on the table like 10 minutes with each other. It seemed like.
Yeah, that match had to take. I thought it was a half hour at least. 14 starts.
Yeah,
maybe,
it probably was a half an hour.
So, with what you don't know about those guys, what do you think? How do you think that match goes? If Dalton could be number one, Austin is number 2 right now. So,
yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Austin just because I think he's been a little more active maybe taking it a little bit more seriously. Could be wrong. Like you said, Dalton could be training in his basement and showing up to practice every week and killing people. But I'll go with Austin and probably 3-2. Close match.
You might end up having to pull these guys in the tournament. You think you'll be able to fare well against them?
Oh God. I wouldn't see me doing much against them, you know.
Well,
I'll be
Go
honest
ahead,
with you. I would think the opposite with you because of the arm length difference. I think you grab them down by the wrist bone and just sweep inside. I think you'd surprise them, in all honesty, because they're used to top rolling a lot of guys because they're taller for their.
Yeah, they both have really long levers.
Yeah, and I know that Dalton's good at the low hand, so that might be a problem. But I think if you just grip low as possible, as low as the refs allow you to, I think it'd be surprised. I think it'd be a good match, in all honesty.
Yeah, definitely. I would need the straps for both.
Yeah.
So, if I can even get to the straps, that's where I would be most beneficial. But we'll see. If I even run into him in the tournament, we will see. So.
Do you ever just ask for the straps directly, or do you think that it's going to make them not give them to you anyway, so just avoid it?
I mean, never hurts to ask, but a lot of times it seems like if you ask, your opponent might think that you're maybe scared of slipping or that you might not be strong enough to slip. So, I don't know.
You're not an asker.
Yeah, I'm not an asker. I fight for everything that I get, so not always the best decision, but it's the way it is.
Well, Kevin, man, I appreciate you being a part of this event once again for Strongest Badge. I know you're representing Team Blue, so it's good to have you a part of it, a part of the show. I appreciate you being on here to talk about it as well. I wish you luck in your match coming up in a couple weeks. And before I let you go, I mean, is there anything that you need to plug, anything like that? I know you got some sponsors nowadays.
Yeah, biggest one is Grip Arm Sport. They are doing huge things for the arm wrestling community right now. He's based out of Ohio. I was pretty much like the first guy that he sponsored. He wanted to, kind of keep it local. He really wants to spotlight the athletes, because a lot of sponsors, they want to put money into tournaments and, maybe get their logo up on the stage for a tournament and stuff like that. The exact opposite with Grip Arm Sport. They're putting all their money into the athletes, helping with travel expenses, hotels. He helped me get to England, which, I cannot thank him enough for that. So I just seen he sent some stuff to Paul Italia, Jerry Caderet, Dave Chafee's wearing some of the stuff. So definitely go check out griparmsport.com. Probably the coolest arm wrestling merchandise. I got this tank top. They got a whole summer line right now. They got the Palko hat. So definitely, if you want some arm wrestling merchandise, go check out griparmsport.com. Also, just my YouTube channel, if anyone's interested in keeping up with my training, my career. Kevin Palko Arm Wrestling on YouTube. Same as Instagram, Facebook. Just search my name, you'll find me.
Awesome, man. Matt, you got anything else?
No, I'm excited to see him come up and pull in the tournament. He's always had great matches locally, so it'll be a good time, especially when he jumps in the tournament and sneaks up on a few people.
Right. Yeah, Strongest Badge, it's always a fun one to go to, which is, that's why I'm traveling the 8 hours to get there, so it's definitely worth it.
You going to double class after your super match again?
Oh,
Get you in the 190s too?
No, that was a mistake last year. I mean, I had the super matches, and then I did the 54 and 72. So I think I'll just stick with the super match in 72. That's enough for me.
Awesome, man. Well, it's going to be good hanging out with you, and I'll see you next month. Thanks again
Yes,
for
sir,
coming on.
for sure. Anytime. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Matt.
Take care, bud.
All right, see ya.